Hi, my name is Alex Belinsky, and I just want to tell you a little bit about these YouTube service projects, what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. So hopefully this will be helpful for you so that when you go to a YouTube service project, you already have a lot of the questions answered. You understand how it got started and what the overall vision is and the purpose is for these videos. So I just want to tell you a little bit about how it got started. So a little bit about myself. I've been working on a mission prep website and YouTube channel called Prepare to Serve for about 3 years. My wife and I just felt inspired to work on this project a few years ago, and I quit my job and started working on it on top of school. Did that for a year, then graduated from BYU and have been working on it since then. I got an unexpected calling about a couple months ago when I found out that I'd be helping to serve on a kind of like an online mission committee. It's under Elder Runya of the 70, and our commission is to try to help engage young adults in Utah Valley in online missionary work. When I found out about this calling, it made sense that I would serve on a committee like this because I've been involved in online missionary related activities for the last few years. But I was very, very stressed out. I was worried about there being a potential conflict of interest in that the people extending the calling were very gung-ho about Prepare to Serve, but I didn't feel comfortable about mixing a calling with what brings in our personal income, even though it is a very missionary-oriented project, but about sharing the gospel. Anyway, I was very stressed out about it, and that night that I received a phone call saying I would receive a new calling, I prayed very earnestly and sincerely, expressing to Heavenly Father how I was very willing to serve in this capacity, but that I wanted some direction because I was just very stressed out about it. And that night I tried to go to bed. I think it was the first night in January, the first Sunday night. I went to try to go to bed around 9 at night, and I didn't end up going to bed until about 2 a.m. Monday morning. And as I was trying to fall asleep, I just had this project idea come to my mind very vividly and detailed. When I woke up in the morning, so I got up and I wrote down the idea on our iMac, and I was able to fall asleep after that. When I woke up the next morning, I was thinking about the idea, and I'm like, wow, that's really kind of bizarre. Wonder why I had that experience. But I thought about it, and it just felt really right and got me really excited. But I was a little concerned because I was like, I'm already so overwhelmed with what we're doing with Prepare to Serve that I can't imagine what it would be like to try to take on setting up 30 to 40 foreign language YouTube channels where there's regular content being published on each of them. But I let the idea sit, and I pondered about it, prayed about it, talked with some people about it, and it just felt clearer and clearer in my mind how it all work out and why it would be such a good idea to do as part of this calling. So the idea in a nutshell is to set up over the course of the next year or so, in 2016, to set up 30 to 40 foreign language YouTube channels, each of which has a weekly vlog published. Now, vlog topics can cover gospel topics like, who is God, or what's the Book of Mormon, who was Joseph Smith, how to pray to God, is there life after death, how to have a happy family. It could also cover other topics such as travel or cultural topics, like what's the culture like, or the food like, or the places like. With our Prepare to Serve channel, we've seen it grow bit by bit, the viewership, and it's been kind of surprising. So, about a year into it or so, we had maybe about 1,000 views a day. And then 2 years into it, I think we had about 10,000 views a day. And then, right now we're about three years into it, and we get about 30,000 to 35,000 views a day typically. So about 1 million views a month, and we've been very surprised. And we put up lots of content in English about the gospel and about missionary life and work. And we also put up a lot of travel and cultural topics. And those topics tend to get more viewership than the gospel topics. But say if someone comes in searching about, Brazilian food, they'll see in the related videos section, they'll see, videos in Portuguese where there's a returned missionary sharing their testimony for their converts or friends in Brazil. And so the two kinds of content, the cultural and travel, information isn't necessarily, what's going to do the most good as far as sharing the gospel. It might, but a lot of that will bring in viewership and followers that will help them to learn about what we know about the gospel. So the idea is to have 30 to 40 foreign language YouTube channels, and on every Monday, one vlog gets published at noon. So every Monday at noon, there's one video being published on all 30 some odd YouTube channels. So far, we've set up a few. We've set up the Swahili channel, Luganda channel, also a Russian and Spanish channel. This weekend, we're planning on setting up a Mandarin channel and also a Latvian channel. And then next week, we're planning on setting up the Fijian channel. So we're just going to continue trying to set up a channel or two every week for the next several months until we have all the channels set up. Now this is a little bit about how it works. So the idea is that twice a year, there's a service project for each language. So let's say you served a Russian-speaking mission, or you're from Russia and you speak Russian. And if you want to contribute and help with the YouTube channel and come to one of these YouTube service projects, you could come, say it might be a Saturday morning from 9 to 12 or from 12 to 3. You come in and you just record maybe 5 to 10 segments where you're talking about specific topics like, who was Joseph Smith? You just sit down in front of camera like I'm doing right now, and you share in 2 to 3 minutes where you just explain a little bit about who Joseph Smith was, or maybe throw in a little testimony or a little invitation of some sort. And whatever you want to do. The idea is that all of these vlogs be very genuine and from the heart, that they're not forced or contrived. So you're just sharing what you want to. That's just completely real. And the way we hope these videos can be helpful, so the idea is that over time, each of these channels will grow to varying extents. There will be some languages that maybe don't have as many speakers who are online, but it might be easier to penetrate, so to speak, or to kind of break through the noise. So say, for example, Swahili, it might, after doing it for a year, this weekly vlog channel in Swahili can break through the noise and reach a lot of Swahili speakers on YouTube so that they're aware of this resource. Whereas it might be harder in English or in Spanish or Portuguese, where there's lots of content on YouTube already in Spanish and English and Portuguese. But there might be a greater potential for them to get more views if there's more people who speak that language, if that makes any sense. I wanted to do a quick shout out to a YouTube channel called The Hey Joe Show. So they're a group of about 5 returned missionaries who served in the Philippines, and they all speak a dialect of Filipino called Visayan. And they do regular videos, might do a couple of videos a week. A lot of their videos are kind of like clean humor type videos. But anyway, they get quite a few views. Like, if I'm not mistaken, they have more than 5 million views on their YouTube channel and more than 50,000 YouTube subscribers. I can't remember if they've been at it for a year or two. But now, in the realm of YouTube, there's a lot of YouTube creators who get have had a lot more than 5 million views. However, they have a very good reach of Visayan speakers who use YouTube. So let's say there's only 20 million people in the world who speak that dialect of Filipino, who live in the Philippines primarily. They have a very high penetration, such that if they go and walk the streets in a certain part of the Philippines that speaks that dialect, people can recognize them on the street and be like, oh, it's the Hey Joe Show guys. Anyway, so it has like a high reach in that niche, and I don't anticipate our channels having that degree of reach, especially at the beginning. Ours probably will be a little bit more educational and spiritual. We probably won't do as many creative, high production type projects and humorous videos and music videos and so forth, though we could. But the idea is just that bit by bit, the viewership will grow, and we'll be able to share with people what we know to be true about the gospel and educate them in uplifting ways. We don't have to just talk about the gospel. We can share English language learning lessons like a lot of missionaries do in the mission field for community service. We can share travel and cultural videos like I had mentioned previously. You can also share a song maybe, if that's all right. And a little bit about how we hope these videos will be helpful to different kinds of people. So in a lot of places around the world, there's not a lot of active members. So let's say I am a teenager and I live in Romania and I'm the only active Latter-day Saint in my high school. I might feel like I'm kind of alone, like I don't have any friends who are Romanian who are members of the church. But the idea is that there's a Romanian, YouTube channel where I can go and I can follow this weekly vlog where there's stalwart returned missionaries and native Romanians who are members of the church who just share good uplifting stuff. So I can follow this channel, and it kind of, as it grows in subscribers and in engagement and viewership, it's kind of like I feel like I'm not as alone. Another way, my wife's talked about this a lot, my wife Rebecca, that this could be beneficial to other people is to less active members of the church or recent converts. They could watch a lot of the clips about the gospel in their language and learn from other members of the church or returned missionaries who have taught the principles of the gospel a lot in that language. And they can get kind of refresher lessons, kind of like a recent convert. They typically are supposed to be taught all of the languages one more time after they're baptized, kind of like to help solidify the doctrines and principles in their mind. So that would be another potential benefit to doing this, is to help recent converts. We also hope the videos will reach non-members to help share the gospel with them online. I think that has a lot of potential to do good and to generate referrals for the local missionaries in the areas. All right, so now I just want to tell you a little bit about the vision for this project. So the idea would be to set up 30 to 40 YouTube channels where every single week from now until the millennium there's new content going up. It's all clean, all uplifting. Doesn't all have to be about the gospel, but a lot of it is about the gospel. So that it builds this tremendous resource for members and for non-members to learn about the gospel in a friendly, non-intrusive kind of a way. And then when people have questions, we can field their questions in the comment sections of the videos. We can become Facebook friends with them. We can invite them to learn more from the local missionaries and send them referrals of people who have already been taught the lessons online and are willing and want to learn more and be baptized. I believe this project has a tremendous potential. I personally would not want to work on this project unless I felt like it was something that Heavenly Father wanted me to help get set up. I have so many ideas of things I want to do with Prepare to Serve and with another project coming down the line called Lifey. It's kind of like a family history resource. But I feel like because of that experience I had that Sunday night and other feelings I've had as I've reflected about this project, I feel fairly confident that this is what Heavenly Father wants me to work on and help create and get set up. Just so you know how it's structured, so I'm serving kind of like as an online mission project chair on this kind of like online mission committee, which is kind of like a pilot program that Elder Runia of the 70 is looking over. My hope is that over the next year, so we called 7 assistants to help me And they're in charge of getting 4 to 6 YouTube channels set up and kind of overseeing their growth and, inviting people to come to these, biannual service events. At the service events, we're trying to pre-record 20 to 30 vlogs that are each, 1 to 5 minutes long in the course of about 3 hours. So that way we can just immediately upload 20 to 30 vlogs and then just schedule them out to be published once every Monday at noon. And my hope is that after a year of doing this, that any one of the assistants, say if I move out of Utah Valley, any one of them could be called to kind of fill in my position to kind of oversee the project as a whole, and that continue to go on and to bless many lives. Another thing I think would be cool, I don't really know how or if this will work, especially in context of it being a calling, but let's say, the Spanish channel in a couple of years from now gets, 50,000 views a week and, pulls in $100 of ad revenue. I think it could be a really positive thing to have the videos monetized and then just take 100% of any profits or revenue from the videos to donate to local causes. So say the Romanian channel, let's say in a couple of years from now, it pulls in, $50 a month. Not a whole lot, but that $50 a month could be donated to food banks or orphanages in Romania. So it's not just a way to give back by sharing the gospel with people that you love who speak those languages, but it's a way that you can give back monetarily in a physical way of helping people who are impoverished in other nations. And I just think that would be a really beautiful, neat way to give back that, missionaries can't typically do in the mission field, because it just kind of creates some problems and expectations that can't be met from the full-time missionaries. But I think us as returned missionaries, I think it could be a really beautiful thing to give back and continue to serve people after our missions, spiritually and temporally. Now I just want to share a little bit of how you can prepare. So if you want to come to these YouTube service projects prepared, what you can do is, you can freshen up on the language. You can study and bring your Preach My Gospel and your scriptures in that mission language, and you can freshen up on the words and on the doctrines. One thing that will be important to do is to try our very best to not share anything that's out of line with gospel principles or doctrines. So, if we study the scriptures and preach my gospel prior to doing it, it might help us to remember exactly what the doctrines are in Preach My Gospel and in the scriptures and be able to relate those on more accurately. So we're not spreading false ideas out there. Anyway, I think that about covers it. I'm really excited. Oh, another thing, if when you come to a YouTube service project, if you can just bring something to do if there's any downtime. Say you might come for an hour, 2 or 3. The idea is that each person will go back into a recording studio area and will record maybe 2 to 5 vlogs at a time. And while they're doing that, other people can be thinking about what topics they want to talk about, and they can also be writing down on a Google Doc. They can write down the topic, the title, description, and tags in that language. We use that afterwards when we edit the videos in Final Cut. We just copy and paste the titles and descriptions and tags from that Google Doc in that language. So it will, on YouTube, all the videos are titled and described and tagged in that language, and they're all in that language to best benefit and serve people of that who speak that language. Anyway, there might be some downtime depending on how many volunteers come. If there's 2 to 3 volunteers, there probably won't be a lot of downtime. You'll probably just be preparing, recording, and then writing down the titles, descriptions, and tags after while the other person's recording. But say if there's, a half dozen or more volunteers, you might have to wait for 25 minutes before it's your turn to record some videos. And so it probably wouldn't take 25 minutes to choose, 3 to 5 topics to talk about. So it might take a couple minutes to choose those topics, and then the rest of the time you might want to just bring some homework to work on, or a book to read, or you can just be super social and meet all these cool people who are coming to the service event. Also, we've been providing snacks. So you have some snacks while you're here, be it some apples, bananas, cookies and milk, those kind of things. Anyway, I think that about covers all that I wanted to cover. I'm sharing this because we've been doing in-person orientations at the beginning of each service project as people arrive, kind of explaining the vision of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I figured this would be a more efficient way that you can watch this video before you come, have a lot of questions answered. Obviously, we can answer any questions you have when you get here, but this way there'll be less questions to answer, and there'll be a clearer understanding, and we can hit the ground running faster and get all the 20 to 30 vlogs done in 3 hours. It goes by super fast. So anyway, I just want to express my appreciation to you for watching this video and for being willing to serve. I really believe that this is something that is going to change lives, bless lives, and help share the gospel. And I believe that through the internet's one of the ways that I believe Heavenly Father will have the gospel preached to his children. And I know there's lots of initiatives with, Google and Facebook to try to help get internet to all the people who do not have access. Let's say only half the world's population has access to the internet via like mobile phones and things like that. I believe, it's quite possible over the next 20 years that virtually the whole world will have access to the internet. And it would be nice by that point to have just a wealth, a database, a library of uplifting, clean content about the gospel and about other topics that people search for, so that they can learn about the gospel. Even if they don't search about, what Mormons believe or what Latter-day Saints believe, the idea is that we know that this is something that can bless their lives and something that's true, that God lives, that revelation is true, that he answers our prayers, and that can bless us and them with a greater sense of happiness and purpose in this life and peace, and can help them avoid a lot of problems that they could face in this life. And we know that's true. They don't. A lot of people don't know that's true. And so this would be a method, following inspiration, to help our brothers and sisters to find and learn about the gospel. Another way to look at these videos is, imagine if you served in Romania, you're attending BYU, you're sitting on a bus going to BYU or from BYU, and you sit next to someone who's from Romania who's not a member of the church. Each of these vlogs that get published could be kind of similar to like if you just sat down for 5 minutes on the bus and talked in Romanian with someone, who's visiting Utah, who's not a member of the church, but who speaks Romanian. And even if you don't talk about the gospel in a really forward way, even just having a positive interaction with a member of the church who speaks their language could do a lot of good. I think I've heard that on average, a lot of people who join the church have already had a good half dozen or more interactions with members of the church before they decide to join the church. So the idea is that we'll allow millions and tens of millions of people in different languages around the world to have a lot of interactions with stalwart members of the church, so that when they have the opportunity to listen to the full-time missionaries in person, they already have kind of friendships, they already have a deep understanding and love for the gospel, and they've had a lot of their questions answered, and they're just ready to make covenants and to progress. Anyway, thank you all. Love you all. Feel free to comment if you have any questions about this project. I tried to make this video as comprehensive as I could, but I'm sure I didn't talk about everything that I could talk about, but I'm just really excited, and you should be excited. This is a really fun project. I think a lot of good's going to come from it, so thank you.